Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Bitcoin trading at 97.92 right now. Still trading within this range, guys. Trying to break this ceiling, trying to get above $10,500. And it looks as though a bull run is in the cards. We're not seeing it right now. This is XRP on the daily, trading at about 20 cents. Not too much movement there. And guys, I'm going to start doing this from now on. Look at VET. Okay, this is VeChain trading at 0.011 cents, and it has seen significant momentum since the collapse. And I'm sure a lot of people after the market crash who bought VET at 0.002 or 0.003 cents are very excited right now. I was talking yesterday about possibly opening a position in VET. Not going to do it at this moment in time. Going to wait for a retracement. We know they are bound to happen. This bull market isn't taking off right now. We are still at the mercy of Bitcoin. And so my biggest worry at this point is actually if Bitcoin soars higher, because I think that will just send VET through to the next level of support, or rather the next level of resistance. Send it right through there. So it is, it's hovering around here right now. It's got to pierce this 0.0132, and then who knows what's in the cards. It might retrace at that point. I have my money on the side. We'll likely get into a position there, but the bull market is ready and raring to go. Ripple Chief predicts big run for Bitcoin and crypto markets. And here's why. And so I'm going to get into the Brad Garlinghouse interview that was posted yesterday on YouTube. He did it from his gorgeous home in sunny California. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says the current state of the global economy is placing Bitcoin and the overall crypto markets in a prime position to rally. This is good for XRP. This is good for Bitcoin. This is good for the crypto markets as a whole. In a recent virtual published meeting on YouTube, Garlinghouse says he expects economic stimulus measures in the United States and abroad to have a negative impact on the US dollar in the future. He says, and this is the quote, I'm going to read this quote because this is really important here. I think the government stimulus now stands at about $3 trillion here in the United States alone. I expect it's going to continue to grow, and I think that, while probably necessary to prevent an even more significant macroeconomic calamity, it definitely is going to have an impact on the future. It will, I believe, result in the debasement of fiat currencies. So he is suggesting that fiat currencies will be debased by the economic stimulus that is occurring right now by the US government. Debasement of fiat currencies, he goes on to say, and you are seeing that in some emerging markets already where the exchange rates have started to shift. But even here in the United States, it's a factor. Garlinghouse points out the fact that Bitcoin was designed for a financial crisis, and so far it's working well. He says the crypto movement has created digital alternatives to gold, and he believes the crypto markets as a whole can benefit from the global economic crisis just as gold itself did after the 2008 financial crisis. It's important to remember that Bitcoin was born in the wake of a global financial crisis, 2008 and 2009. Gold has been a safe haven asset in a lot of ways. It did drop during the beginning of the 2008 liquidity crisis, but then you saw it make a big run, and I think we're going to see a similar trajectory and a similar opportunity around the crypto market overall. This is Brad Garlinghouse stating this, guys. Brad Garlinghouse saying that cryptocurrency is going to rock the market, similar to what we saw gold do back in 2008, 2009. Now, for those of us invested in cryptocurrencies and are happy we're still hodling, this bodes very, very well. Okay, most of our positions, might be underwater at this point, depending on how much you've cost averaged down. But at the end of the day, the pain and suffering from hodling for so long will be a distant memory, and we will be laughing all the way to the bank. Okay, now this might take time. Brad Garlinghouse is not saying that this is going to happen right away, but it could be the aftershock after we get out of this pandemic. Once we see the economy start recuperating. I'm going to continue on here. Although Garlinghouse has long said he's bullish on Bitcoin as a store of value, he argues XRP's speedy and efficiency makes it a far better asset for payments. He says the San Francisco-based startup will continue to target the use of XRP in cross-border remittances amid a surge in demand for digital transactions. So he talks a little bit more about XRP. I'm going to get to that later in the video, but just wanted to mention Brad Garlinghouse's stance on his bullish sentiments with regards to the crypto market amidst this pandemic crisis and into the recovery once that occurs. So I've been getting some VeChain articles for you guys, and thanks so much for sending them. I have been doing more research on this. VeChain recognized by German government for supply chain management. This sent to me by Jurgrand1 on Twitter, and it was an original tweet by @AssetsDaily. And so this, in a study published by Germany's Federal Office for Information Security, BSI, VeChain is recognized among 300 blockchains for its intelligent supply chain management. The study aimed to examine and evaluate the security of 30 blockchains as part of a market analysis. The study also tried to identify possible fields of application for the projects evaluated. The study had 4 criteria that it considered making the evaluations. The blockchain should be relevant in the market, the amount of security, incidents, security, and evaluability. In this, the BSI obtained a version of the situation per blockchain studied. So VeChain, Corda, and EOS among recognized blockchains. The study recognized 8 blockchains of the 300 studied. In addition to VeChain, there was Corda and EOS. VeChain firmly cemented in their study, and they recognize it as a beneficial tool for supply chain management. Very good. I also saw this tweet from Not So Average Joe @MoonshotCaller on Twitter. The quote says, "Officially involved with VeChain under a private capacity to be revealed at a later date." Now, this with regards to software engineer Bobby Moore, who was at Athena Health. And for those of you guys who do not know Athena Health, $1.22 billion in revenue in 2017. So these are big players in the space. VeChain Brothers says, the way he wrote it seems as if it's for Moore Associates and not Athena Health, but maybe that's done on purpose for discretion. Nice find. The Legend of Link responds down here, it is not Athena Health. It is quite clear he is working as a freelancer, or it's his own company in a VeChain project. Nevertheless, the fact that it is a VeChain project and they are poaching these big talents in the space, that's good news for a blockchain project and for a particular cryptocurrency in order to promote adoption and for it to get off the ground. So another good VeChain article there. Thanks so much @MoonshotCaller. Guys, I also saw this from Michael @Val5Links on Twitter. Now, we're thrilled to share that Ripple is part of the ISO 20022 Registration Management Group standards body, and the first member focused on distributed ledger technology. The membership enables us to meet the needs of our 300 plus customers. This from the Ripple Insights, and we heard this news that they were the first distributed ledger technology company integrated within the ISO 20022 standard. Just going to start down here. We're thrilled to share that Ripple is part of the ISO 20022 standard, the first member focused on distributed ledger technology. This membership enables us to meet the needs of our 300 plus clients by helping define the future direction of cross-border payment standards to evolve the ISO 20022 standard. Continuing on with the theme of compliance and overall amenability, I suppose one could say. Ripple wants to be that company that is above board, that wants to be visible to all those other companies that recognize that standards and assimilation into the corporate world is important, and they have proven that through their them being the first DLT-related company that is integrating into the ISO 20022 standard. Give some statistics down here. Then it goes down here. The industry globalization. Structured data streamlines processing in cross-border payments, leading to fewer false positives and compliance investigations, as well as stronger regulatory controls. When all the networks adhere to these same rules and protocols, payment reach and straight-through processing dramatically improves. Just giving some more information on that. They talk about resilience is improved through this interoperability, because if one part of the system is down, the same standardized data can be used to efficiently reroute the transaction. This is all part of a bigger problem. Up here again, I missed this. Achieving very high levels of STP in payments is an essential prerequisite for the world's digital economy to mature and deliver the benefits of society and commerce predicted by industry experts such as machine-to-machine payments, the Internet of Things, smart supply chains, and greater financial inclusion. This is because these models all need extremely reliable, high-volume, immediate payments to be effective. ISO 20022 is critical in achieving this. So they also do mention smart supply chains, just connecting with our previous VeChain article that we were discussing earlier. Anyway, a little bit more on Ripple's ISO 20022 integration. Guys, I saw this from Ant1 on Twitter. WorldRemit and Mukuru joins forces for Zimbabwe cash pickup. And WorldRemit, we know they're a Ripple-enabled partner. One of the world's leading remittance firms has announced a new partnership in order to enable cross-border money transfers to Zimbabwe. WorldRemit says that it would work alongside Mukuru to offer extended services to customers. WorldRemit clients from more than 50 nations around the world, such as Australia, the UK, and the US, will be able to send cash to people across Zimbabwe, even outside of cities. So that's a big, big advancement in order to be able to bank the unbanked in Zimbabwe, which is obviously a country in Africa. And for those of you guys who do not remember, as I mentioned earlier, top 14 money transfer companies and Ripple's connection. This article back from May 2019 from XRPrightnow.com. One of the emerging consumer remittance providers that has a connection to Ripple is WorldRemit, as you guys can see the logo over here. So that's great news. And so we've read news that Ripple does want to continue opening corridors around the world, and all eyes are on Africa, I think. I think that that's the next logical step for them. They have kind of hinted at it in the past. There is a lot of friction in countries such as Nigeria, where the remittance volume is quite high. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that. Thanks so much, Ant1, for posting that. And guys, this from my buddy, XRP_Canada on Twitter posted this. So apparently HackerNoon has closed a $1 million strategic investment from micropayments firm Coil, a blockchain agnostic product built on the Interledger protocol and headed by former Ripple CTO at Just Moon, which is Stefan Thomas. So let's get into this article. HackerNoon CoinDesk. HackerNoon raises $1 million from former Ripple CTO for content micro tipping. So the tech publication has closed a $1 million strategic investment from Coil, and the terms include a 3-year partnership between the Colorado and San Francisco-based startups, including the use of Coil's web monetization technology. Avoiding something like a paywall with a microtransaction is extremely valuable, HackerNoon founder and CEO David Smook said in a phone interview with CoinDesk. HackerNoon is home to an incredibly dedicated community of technologists and software developers. Coil Chief Growth Officer Jonathan Greenglass said in a statement, "We're thrilled to be working with HackerNoon to provide its community with a simple way for readers to write, to participate in the value exchange between one another." So a big investment looking to monetize content on HackerNoon. And guys, this is the website hackernoon.com. And when you go to the breaking section, breaking, HackerNoon raises $1 million from Coil. So that is their #1 breaking article today. Big news from them. Thanks so much, XRP_Canada, for posting that. He does post down here too. HackerNoon has 4 million monthly readers. So again, that is going to be a big advancement for them to be able to monetize content in the form of micropayments. And we're moving towards this model more and more. Even if you just look at it and you might not think micropayments glaringly when I say this example, we've gone from music, buying records, buying CDs, whatever, to then moving to the iTunes model, which was then buying a 99-cent song, to now moving to a Spotify model where you just pay a subscription fee and each artist gets a single micro payment for every time you stream their song. So the world is just moving more and more that way. Now, I don't know if that's great for artists. To me, it doesn't sound like it's great for artists, but I'm not looking at it from an artist point of view. I'm looking at it from a technology point of view and how XRP integration fits into this. So, you know, the filmmaker artist part of me is just like, okay, cool, whatever. But then, you know, the XRP investor part of me is just like, bring it on. Let's do this. So I gotta thank XRP_Canada for posting that. Moving along, guys, this from MacAttack XRP, Ripple's cloud service gets first adoption in bank industry. And so this is going to be important for later on. Ripple's cloud service gets first adoption in bank industry. So we heard about Ripple CloudNet and how it was announced a couple of weeks ago. And now the Banco Rendimento, a Brazil-based bank, has just adopted a financial cloud service designed by Ripple to let financial institutions and customers enjoy better and more flexible remittance services. So Banco Rendimento made the announcement on Wednesday, June 11th, which was today's Thursday, June 11th, so I don't know what they're talking about there, revealing that it would be upgrading its partnership with Ripple by integrating the new solution. While Ripple earlier explained that the new services will make banks survive and remain efficient during and after the lasting pandemic, Banco Rendimento, which is now the first within the banking industry to adopt the solution, will be moving its services to the RippleNet cloud. Could that have been a possible topic when the Central Bank of Brazil had that meeting with Ripple several days ago now. It is a possibility, something to ponder, and I think that this RippleNet cloud system is really going to be a prominent part of this banking industry integration, cloud services to send and receive payments. Ripple just kind of came up with this and announced it. We hadn't heard anything about it, and it just kind of threw us for a loop. We didn't really have much information on it. Nevertheless, it is happening. And guys, this from Brad Garlinghouse from his Q1 2020 report from yesterday. Yes, from his lovely home in California. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Brad goes on the record for his Q1 2020 report, mentioning some interesting things. We talked about the Bitcoin rally and how cryptos could really emerge out of this economy glorious and victorious because of the pandemic. But here are some other things he discussed with regards to the Q1 report. So at the beginning, he discussed the government stimulus of $3 trillion and how that will continue to grow and how that could result in the debasement of fiat currencies. He related that to Germany in World War I. And how they were printing money to fund the war effort and ended up in a massive inflation situation. Brad says, though, that the world won't end up that bleak, but what's happening now will certainly have an impact over the coming years. What does this mean for Ripple? Well, he was very optimistic that Ripple will be able to weather the storm. And during this pandemic, Ripple had to make some decisions. They are essentially doing all right, but what he did say is that they were thoughtful about hiring, and they actually hired less positions than they thought they would just because of the pandemic situation, and most of their employees are working from home anyway. So he goes on and talks about gold dynamics, and we talked about that in that former article, so I'm not going to continue about that. He talked a little bit about XRP sustainability and how XRP is the greenest of the digital assets. He also discussed the fact that this is having an impact on cash-first remittance companies and how an increase on digital-first players is what's really going to increase Ripple's business. Ripple has seen an increase of 80 to 100% in these digital-first companies. He doesn't think cash services will go away, but he does see that more remittances will happen digitally. And he does see a second wave of correspondent banks de-risking. He says moving away from pre-funding, and this will be an opportunity for Ripple. So continuing with the idea of using ODL, and despite what Ashish Burla said a couple of days ago, Brad Garlinghouse did say that ODL will increase. There was a 190% increase from quarter 4 of 2019 to quarter 1 of 2020 in ODL, so 28 new production contracts were signed. But ultimately, guys, the need for regulatory clarity is what's going to make Ripple soar. He says the globe needs to understand that China controls Bitcoin, and what are the implications to that? 2020 will be about clarity, and this will be a priority for XRP, but also for the crypto market more broadly. So we will see, once we see clarity, we will see prices rise, guys. Still lots of uncertainty, and it will separate the wheat from the shaft, as he mentions. Ripple will see this opportunity to press their advantage. They're focused on keeping the train moving forward. Brad wants to continue to build the company and the internet of value. So in a nutshell, that was the 13-minute quarter 1 report from Brad Garlinghouse. Anyway, going to continue moving along here. Ripple executive unveils XRP e-commerce platform. So this and other news, Craig DeWitt, who was doing the Songs project, or X Songs, also started this pay burner thing. And this is what he revealed to Thinking Crypto in an interview that he did a couple of days ago. He says he's working on an XRP-centered music platform. It quickly became clear that the music one-click crypto payment system is sorely needed. And this is going to be great. If we're able to have a one-click system in order to pay with our crypto, I think that is going to be a game changer. He says here Payburner got started because we had this idea for X Songs, and then we realized that there wasn't actually a great ecosystem for individuals to do peer-to-peer payments using XRP. It was interesting to see in the initial version of X Songs, or Songs, I still don't know how that's pronounced, the vast majority of payments were coming from digital asset exchanges. People were buying songs for 20 XRP, which was the weirdest thing. Turns out that's the minimum withdrawal for a lot of these exchanges. Then it kind of dawned on us that actually there hasn't been an excellent wallet for infrastructure that makes things really easy for customers of XSongs to actually leverage XRP. So they are now working on a one-click solution called Payburner. They'd been working on it for a while, but now really understanding the benefit of a one-click payment system. How many of you guys would use a one-click payment system connected to your crypto wallet to buy little things on the internet, micropayments? I'm sure a lot of you are doing that kind of thing right now. I know a lot of us have been using the XRP Tipbot, for example, to send tips via XRP. But if you could go to Amazon or some other kind of marketplace and just one click, use it the same way you use your credit card, that would be revolutionary. It's one thing to send crypto to somebody and cut and paste their wallet address and enter the amount. But if there was a one-click pay integration system, That would be amazing. I finally wanted to mention this, guys, and this from Reitergeist on Twitter, at Otto Gunger. Here's a nice one for the DTCC, and we talked about DTCC a few times in several videos. It was clear in 2016 that DLT is not the only way to reduce costs and risk in the international flow of money. They were skeptical of DLT. You can instead use cloud services and rely on industry standards, and so the DTCC wanted to use this type of cloud service protocol. Well, how does Ripple react? And we talked about it earlier here with regards to their cloud service, and a few weeks ago now, how they introduced their cloud service, and now this Brazilian bank Banco Rendimento is using it. Well, how do they react? That's right, Ripple does come out with a cloud service. So we mentioned down here, this year Ripple announced the RippleNet in the cloud and being the leading adopter, being in the body of the ISO 20022. I guess the DTCC are convinced now. Very, very interesting observation. So I wanted to thank at Otto Gunger on Twitter for posting that. I love these astute observations. You know, there is so much pointing to mass adoption with regards to Ripple and XRP as that asset to exchange value. And we are on the precipice. All the work has been building up in the background. And, you know, of course, the pandemic has slowed things down a little bit, but it's already, guys. Regulatory clarity is going to be the answer for a lot of this. And Brad Garlinghouse even makes a point of that in this video. It all goes back to regulatory clarity. Why else would him and Chris Larson last year have taken out an entire page, I believe it was the New York Times, an entire page stating to banks, regulators, governments of the world, don't paint us all with one brush. Regulatory clarity needs to be right, and that takes time. I wanted to end this off, guys, with this tweet here. Wagner Wagdog at Buy and Sell on Twitter. We've been in the longest bear market now in the history of the crypto market. This only means one thing. The next bull run will be the biggest and most epic bull run we've ever seen. Prepare to have your face melt, folks. I couldn't agree more. Anyways, that's Wagner's opinion. That's my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.